Season 2, Episode 8 of Halo the series is my favorite episode yet, and I advise you to go watch it before you carry on further with this video, as it is going to be a full spoiler-filled breakdown of a fantastic culmination of this season's major plot arcs in this Halo 2 season finale review. The episode begins with a dimly lit John 117, the Master Chief. He's speaking about events we're yet to see, saying, "What is that thing? Why is it here?" Of what does he speak, and to whom is he speaking? Well, we get the definitive answer on one of those at the episode's end, but not the other. My initial thoughts right off the bat were, he's on Halo, he's talking to a monitor, and he's scared shitless after meeting a grave mind. We'll see if I was right. A quick cut back into a massive zoom in on a single cell as we find ourselves on Onyx in Miranda Keyes' research lab. Talk of dormant spores leads to a new, soon-to-be dead character named Janine, who has some incredibly passive-aggressive lines toward Miranda, explaining how these cells may have woken up now that they have a food source. That is right. This episode is dominated by the release of the Flood. No time is wasted as Janine's curiosity gets the better of her, and she begins to spread the infection quickly. A 60s-style pop song plays as the horror begins to unfold. All these bright, cheerful O&I employees chit-chatting until one of them gets a pen in the neck from Janine and the gore starts to flow. Cue the opening credits. As we come back, Kai, Perez, and their assortment of Spartan 3s are getting ready to fly through space and try to board a Covenant cruiser. Right in the smack of Kai starting her speech, their shit gets blown the fuck up, and it is chaos. Body parts are flying around as Perez desperately tries to stop spinning out of control. It's the second time in this episode that I jumped a bit after feeling completely caught off guard. The plot armor holds as Kai, Perez, and a handful of Spartan 3s do make it to the ship's hull after avoiding the debris of their exploding comrades on their way. Then we see it, a mother-jumping Covenant supercruiser that dwarfs every other ship in size by at least tenfold. We come over to Chief and Parangoski getting to chat together over their instantaneous comm systems. Chief is stuck just outside of the battle watching it and wanting to help, while Parangoski implores him to reach the Halo as quickly as possible. She's in full, "Oh, yay, John, you're alive, how wonderful" mode to try and cover her butt, but Chief's not having any of it. He calls her out directly, and you can see the life start to drain out of her body as the realization that she can't sweet-talk her way out of this one begins to hit. We then see Soren and Quan gearing up in his ship to go and save Liara and Kessler as they are stuck in the brig in a cell opposite of Ackerson and adjacent to one with, an obviously flood-infected side character that we saw for a split second in the opening. Heading back into the Covenant ship with Kai's team, they start to get their asses whooped as the Covenant's ready for them. They continue to fight desperately, and we intercut between Chief and Parangoski still going at it over the comms. He does not want to leave them to die, especially Kai. But at this point, Perez's words about Chief being special finally start to resonate with him, and we see a cool but also kind of weird shot of him flipping a coin until it all stops midair, Matrix style. John's made his choice. He's done taking shitty Yoni orders, and we get the epic trailer shot of him opening the bay of his Condor and overlooking the battle in space. To counter this epic moment, we get Makee and Cortana next, discussing what they're gonna do next. Cortana thinks they're best buds and wants to find an escape pod with Makee to make it to the Halo ring. Makee, though, oh no. She thinks Cortana is just too damned loyal to Chief, and she can't have that. After a very short and ominous back and forth, Makee drops Cortana's external SSD enclosure and smashes it with her foot. Killing her? I don't know, we'll see. We ping-pong back to the Covenant ship, and things are not going great for our team. Spartan 3s are getting one shot left and right, while Kai does her best to pull the hard carry. Perez takes a side shot of plasma and then dual wheels a pair of needlers as Kai drags her out of immediate harm. After a will she, won't she few moments of Kai deciding on using the spike that'll blow them all up, we hear an explosion that hits right as the crescendo of the soundtrack does. Chief's timing, as always, is impeccable, and he single-handedly murks every Covenant that was assaulting Kai's team. He's refusing to leave anyone behind, and everyone makes it off the ship alive except for Kai, who says she's right behind them. It's not obvious to Perez, but at this point, all I was hoping for was a worthy death for Kai. Quan and Soren start working their way back through an incredibly infected facility, but everyone for now is just standing still, not breathing, and not moving. Kessler and Laera almost get got by the creepy flood lady as she breaks all her bones and grows a lovely new appendage while trying to reach them through the bars of their cells. They get saved by Ackerson, who uses the obviously infected guard's pistol to shoot the woman a bunch of times before said guard turns on him and tries to bite off a piece of his smarmy ass. They are later saved by Quan and Soren, who let Ackerson out as well after they learn about his earlier heroics. Parangosky is so damn desperate that she brings in Halsey, who is evidently captured off-screen, to try and talk John into heading for the Halo instead of Maki's ship, where he's now going to try and save Cortana. Halsey instead tells Chief the best way to get on board because she knows how special Cortana is and that she's worth trying to save. John finds the broken SSD and is very sad for a few seconds before we hear Jen Taylor's voice say that she had hopped into the Covenant systems as it was the only place she could go to not die. After telling Chief he gon' die, though, alongside her as they crash into Halo in a few seconds, he does the Chief thing and punches technology. Really, he just punches the Covenant control panel and absorbs Cortana into his suit before everything fades to white as they don't die in a horrible crash. And then, my favorite part of the episode, as John awakens on Halo, and it is glorious. The music hits, the classic chant. And they recreate that iconic Chief holding his helmet by his side pose from the game's stuff. Oh, it just feels so Halo. The thumbnail for this video is that shot because it is too good. Halo is a living network, and Cortana can make her kinda weird looking hardlight ass appear anywhere. Chief picks up an energy sword and the music swells as you see Maki and Arbiter make their way for a tower facility not too far away. Seriously, Bear McCreary's music is fantastic throughout this episode, but this part was my favorite. Next up, Sadness. We're back in space as Perez and the lady who yelled at her during their fake mission training in an earlier episode are now on a Condor. Perez has had her wounds stabilized and quickly realizes Kai did not come with them. We then see Kai potentially go down in a blaze of glory as she pilots the Covenant ship into this supercruiser, destroying it. This turns the tide of the battle for the UNSC, but it seems like we are down to one Spartan 2 left fighting. Back on Onyx, Halsey and Keyes are covertly discussing their discovery, which Miranda realizes was a horrific thing to have found. The Situation Room is quickly overrun by those infected by the flood. A bit of makeup and some CGI creatures that crawl into your damned eyes abound, and Halsey barely escapes as Parangosky and everyone else is swallowed by the chaos. They're probably dead. It's another surprise story beat that I didn't think would happen this quickly and brutally, and I loved it. The flood spores had their familiar shape, though they were much smaller in size because this isn't an old video game where trying to shoot at a 2 or 3 inch long enemy would have been really infuriating to try and fight. Quan, Soren, Laera, Kessler, and Ackerson are working their way to escape through Onyx's basement parking lot, it seems like, and all but Quan make it, though she's not attacked. Instead, her ancestor lady talks to her as a group of infected humans all stare menacingly while their bones crack every time they move quickly. The old lady voice knows what the infection is and what it wants. The Ghost Witch states, "This is the flood," and we get another beautiful hit of music. It's just mwah type of stuff. Her ancestors, for some reason, can hold off the flood from attacking for a very short period, so Quan dashes away, and then we cut back to Keyes' lab. Through all the chaos, Halsey's been able to make it back to her daughter, and they start to bicker. Keyes thinks the flood is terrifying, and Halsey's still kind of batshit and thinks it's incredible. Of course, only from a scientific understanding point of view for her, but before Miranda can call her mom a loopy dame, she realizes Halsey isn't talking anymore. She's just staring blankly and looking a little pale. Oh dear baby Jesus, she's infected. And this one got me pretty good. I did not think they would infect Catherine Halsey with a damned flood spore in this episode. Quick cut back to Soren's group as they attempt to escape. He is determined to go back for Quan, but she comes running up and saying for all of them to get out, and they all do, except for one. Laera locks the door behind them, and Soren turns back, unsure why, when Laera shows him her arm, which has been infected by a flood spore, and she tells him she's sorry for calling him a creepy bitch in the last episode, and that she loves him forever, before everything slowly fades to black. At least, that's what I think happened, because between Bokeem Woodbine's desperate screams and everything else, this was the first time I felt any really deep emotion about their characters, and I teared up a little bit. Goodbye, Laera. You did your best. Then it is showtime at the Halo Palo. Chief catches up with Maquis and the Arbiter, and they duke it out for a while. After gaining the upper hand, the Arbiter makes the typical bad guy mistake and doesn't choose to try and finish this fight. Chief gets back up, uses his grapple shot to systematically beat the ever-loving piss out of the Arbiter. He ends up punching him in the face so many times that he not only destroys the Arbiter's helmet, but he dislocates one of his mandibles with a sickening crunch. Beaten, bloody, bruised, and shamed, the Arbiter begs for Chief to kill him as Maquis cries for him to not give up. But Chief just stabs the Arbiter right in the chest where a human heart would be, and luck turns out it instantly kills him. Maquis then uses her special hands to open the front door of the Forerunner facility they were in the front of. We do some quick cycling back to Soren and his group as they are very sad about the death of Liara. Keyes has put her mom into a cryo chamber, and as the frost surrounds her, promises to find a cure. As we are shown Kai's body floating intact in space, Maquis starts telling Chief that he is a dipshit. As she's spewing some truth bombs, Chief looks out on the horizon as the ring starts to activate. Fans of the game know that this is a bad thing, because the ring is getting ready to fire due to the presence of the Flood. Covenant and human ships are entering the ring's atmosphere, and Maquis heads into the facility. We finish things up with Chief talking to what most of us would have guessed is, in fact, a monitor. The monitor is trying to understand Maquis and Chief in who he should use and trust. They each have said the other is dangerous, but Chief has talked to the thing down there in the dark that has been waiting all this time to meet him. The episode ends as Chief puts on his helmet and we see the cracked visor from the show's opening. He's also covered in blood and has obviously been through hell and back since entering this facility, but that's for Season 3. Halo Season's 2 finale is by far the best episode of the show's run, managing to wrap up most, if not all, of its major plot threads it had built through its prior 7 episodes. We get the Spartan 2s back in their suits, kicking ass, and the people talking in rooms parts are the best they've been. The Flood is here, and the show shifted well into being full-on horror whenever they were around. I personally cannot wait for Season 3, so please, please renew it, Paramount.